welcome to the Higher Origins podcast. Today we're going to be doing things a little different. Today is just going to be kind of a rundown of what Higher Origins actually is for those of you who aren't familiar. To get started, I think we'll just introduce ourselves. So, I'm Daniel.
And I'm Matthew.
Let's do a little bit of background about ourselves first. So, I am from Laytonville, California, in Mendocino County. Born and raised there, and I was kind of around the cannabis industry growing up. My family wasn't directly involved in it, but I was just kind of always found myself involved in it to certain degrees growing up. And then I went to college, got a degree in manufacturing engineering. Later on, I went and got a second degree in project management. And right around the start of COVID, Matt hit me up, and we were talking about all kinds of stuff related to the cannabis industry, and he's involved in software. So he's like, hey, let's start working together and make something to help people. And that's how I got involved in this whole thing.
So I was born and raised Willits. I grew up directly on the farm. My parents' farm's Mendo Mystic, where they had been cultivating since '86. I was born in '98. But yeah, just always been around it. And then once legalization happened, got into doing software in the space. Now we're kind of evolved to the point to where now it's working on like a bunch of cool software tools and the like marketplace sales side of it. So just always been around it.
This whole thing did start off basically as a compliance platform where we had seen that so many small farms get approached by compliance, like metric third party compliance softwares who wanted to charge them ridiculous amounts. So we thought, well, let's make a better, cheaper version. And we started doing that, and there was a few false starts, and it kind of just didn't really seem like the best business plan because metric, everybody does it differently. It in and of itself, metric is not a huge value add, and we just kind of realized that metric was probably going to change in some way that would ruin our whole business model if that's something we built a company on. So we basically pivoted away from that to what we do now, which is helping small farms get to market, creating tools to do that, educating consumers, educating people across the industry, and just trying to set up financially sustainable supply chains for that get small farm weed from the farm to the consumer. And that's what we do now. Matt, why don't you run through the key features of Higher Origins right now, and then we can talk about how those help people directly. But what have we built so far?
Yeah, so the standalone features that are available at present are the marketplace, menu, order systems. So those are primarily there to connect buyers and sellers because there is that issue of getting reorders, especially as a small brand. We're trying to kind of build in the infrastructure that allows us to effortlessly communicate with who we're working with. So instead of sending over emails, that could be something that's just done through the order system, whether you go on and place an order through a menu or go to the marketplace and place an order through there. It should be easy. The buyer should be able to do it at 1 in the morning if that's what they want to do. That's kind of the angle that we're trying to target. And alongside, just started building out a bunch of other tools that are kind of centered around the QR code system. Since we have all of this data on retail ready products, we've gone through and done like public consumer facing pages for how do you find this product, so what retailers is it being stocked at, what was the last delivery. We have like a map that shows all of the different retailers that any of the brands that have done orders through Higher Origins have delivered in the last 6 months. And like all their icons are scaled by their order sizes. So, the bigger the icon, the more they're supporting small farms. So, generally, I'd say better. So, we're just trying to build in a lot of this ecosystem work to allow for more discovery, to allow for more of the story, to kind of help sell the product. Because it's one thing to go into a retailer and say, "Hi, retailer, buy my product." It's another if you have like an entire like tech stack alongside saying like, well, here's how the product gets sold, here's how we're actually capturing the value of this supply chain, just everything of like trying to sell and move small farm products and brands.
So that's what we've built. That's our core platform. The whole reason why we've done this is to help small farms get to market. Matt, I know that through your family farm, you've had a lot of experiences with the initial like headaches trying to do that and seeing the price drop and how that's affected you. And well, what did you guys do? Tell us about the self branding system that you went through that's worked for you.
Self branding as it goes, I mean, it was the solution. Because I mean, I don't see a more effective way to get around the fact that, if you're working with wholesalers or distributors that are just moving pounds, from you to a brand, you're only getting that 150, 250 per pound. If you're working directly with the brand, you're getting, your 400 to 500 per pound, which is still not great. Especially considering that you as the farm aren't getting a whole lot of recognition. You're not really building a base or an audience for yourself, which is kind of, at least, being this far into the industry, I think has shown as a problem where you see a lot of small farms that are trying to differentiate themselves, but what they're able to put out and what they're able to, I guess, like, individually the voice is like a lot quieter, and so, like, really it's just kind of about amplifying that and providing more of that.
So with self branding, what improvements in pricing have you guys seen running through your small farm?
Well, you're able to get, depending on what your brand and market is, as like an outdoor mixed light, you're seeing anywhere between the $10 and $14 an eighth currently. But you do have to put in a lot more of the work of either packaging it or finding distributors that can package it. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to find a distributor to work with, so that's, another hurdle. But we're seeing, within the industry now, more like co-op models happening where you're seeing distributors popping up in like weird remote areas, and they're trying to kind of service their own like local farms, which I think ultimately is a winning model. At least in the current like structure of regulation, it's the best model. And I think it's probably the only model of like, okay, self branding, getting our flour to retail and building some kind of brand around the farm. I mean, it's your best way of surviving the market. I mean, building an audience, building consumers that want to find your product. That's kind of been the win where, now we're able to kind of go to market with, maybe a product that has less than 20% THC, and it's actually selling because, we have 5, 6, 7 years of recognition as Mendo Mystic. So those customers who have kind of followed along, they know the kind of product that we grow, so they trust it a little bit more. So I think that, at least as a small farm where it does take a little bit more effort on kind of like the front half of thinking about, okay, now I have to do branding and I have to think about packaging, and, instead of packing into pounds, we're packing into eighths and half ounces and what have you. But any of like the consumer connection that you get, I think, is much more rewarding and more high value. Because currently in the supply chain, you have the issue where distributors are there to just kind of like lowball farms, and they like come in and they play like, I have all the cards. And to a certain extent they do, because they will often, compare, like they'll go to small farms which have higher quality product, and then they sit there and then they compare some corporate grown in mass pound that they're getting for super cheap down in Santa Barbara. And when you like actually talk to customers and the marketing value of small farms and the ability to like sell that story, there's a lot more value there, that I think small farms are just losing out in general, which largely is because of how regulation was laid out. But I think if enough of us got together and you start working through the problems, you can get through it. And I think we can work together and be reasonable about it.
So yeah, the general goal with High Origins is to take all these small farm brands that don't necessarily have great access to market, even though they have good product, get a bunch of them together, organized on one platform, get them marketing their products through menus to retailers and buyers and brands, have those buyers and brands be able to search for those farms' products and discover it. And when they purchase from those small farms, they get additional features, software features that help them sell that product more. Also, put these brands online, give them a public face on the internet so they can be seen and discovered by consumers. And in the middle, you have the distros where we don't want to work with any kind of distro that's basically just trying to, buy low, sell high, and rip people off. There's lots of small distros out there who are willing to just do the basic logistical and packaging stuff. Those are the people who we want to work with because that's what distro should be. So we have the buyers, we have the sellers, we have the distros in the middle. Get all of those people on one platform, promote them as a whole, as a complete supply chain, so everyone within there can benefit and also has the awareness that all of those different brands will help each other, and we can include those people who are helpful and exclude those people who are not. That's the basic elevator pitch. That's what we're all about. The easiest way to start learning about this stuff is by checking out our website, which Matt has built from scratch and is really awesome. So why don't you go through some of the stuff about the site?
Yeah, I mean, if you just start on like what's publicly available and you just start walking through it, you will, quickly see, all the different farms that have signed up, created pages, the products that they've created, uploaded, that are retail facing. If you scroll even further down, you'll probably find our license search, which I've basically taken all the state data and I've enriched it. So I've created a few different visualizations and kind of filtering and like a summarized tool that allows you to, I guess, more or less build reports around the license data. One of my favorite uses of it currently is that I do the associated licenses. So you can look up, for example, a retail license, see their associated licenses, see if they have an indoor grow somewhere, or they're working with a manufacturer or something. Because usually, as a small farm, you wouldn't be working with those retailers. At least that's like the current landscape of the market. But yeah, I mean, you can better kind of focus in your prospects, I guess, by doing a little bit more research with them. And all of this is like powered by because I made my own like interaction system, so that I could better collect like page view data, and more in-depth interaction data that's associated with products, licenses, pages, etc., etc. So you can actually get some like pretty cool insights of who's actually viewing your product, when, where. Through the menu system, we have those same kind of interactions. You either have to be authenticated with a license number or be signed up via Higher Origins. So in general, what buyers are looking at your product too, so you can get some valuable insights of, okay, who do I need to follow up with? What questions do I need to be asking them? What do I need to be putting in front of them, just based on what piqued their interest potentially online. So yeah, it's just all about getting as many small farms together, building out these tools that allow us to actually go and approach these buyers and be able to like sell ourselves to them and go at it.
Yeah, you mentioned also that there were some email features that were built into the system that were pretty useful for outreach.
Correct. Yep. I'm currently working on a system that will be rolled out probably the day that we're recording this. That is more or less allowing me to do automated outreach. So it's basically a templated email that will like include the page. So it'd be like a farm brand. It'll have like a little bit of about them. Include their top like 5 products, whether that's based on views, sales. It's kind of dependent on a mixture of those. So that will display the products, and then I do automated outreach via email to all of the buyer accounts. So they'll start getting automated menus to kind of get either your product or your brand kind of out in front of people. So this would be targeting retail product from farm brands to retailers. This would be a wholesale product targeting to distros, and then like your plants, genetics being targeted generally to farm licenses.
And consumers also have the ability to sign up and get notifications about farm brands so they know when that product is in their neighborhood, basically. Kind of get updates for when new products drop or become available. So consumers can also use Higher Origins.
Yeah, you're able to, as a consumer, go to any page, product. Here soon, I'll probably add the ability to actually follow a region. But You'll be able to just go in there, put in your postal code, and then get in email updates of whenever any of our brands that you followed, or if you just did like a general follow, that like you'll just get drop notifications, and it's generally pretty handy for trying to like drive sales to retail.
Excellent. One thing I have to toot my own horn about, we also have quite a few articles on the website. These are things that I've written. This is kind of my main function around here is I write articles. And we've got everything from analytics on the state of the industry, licensing, square footage, cultivation is the most recent thing I just dropped, to interviews with farms and retailers, to things about trends or observations we made about the industry. We've got a fair amount of material where we basically highlight how the system is screwing over various players in the industry, the problems with metric, etc. So we're always writing, and I think they're pretty good articles. So if you're interested, please check those out. It's all free. So if you are a licensed farm in California, we always talk about small farms. That's our main focus, but we're not necessarily like if you have a medium license or something, we're not going to turn you away. You can sign up to Higher Origins, and you can create a menu and you send it out to buyers immediately. That you also have a little page on the site which is publicly visible if you have consumer facing products that anybody can look at and learn about you, learn your story. You can put your links on there so they can go to your website, your Instagram, find you wherever you happen to be online. If you don't like it, delete your account, tell us it sucks, and you can leave, and there's no commitment. There is an additional tier called the supporter tier, which is $50 a month, and that comes with a few different little bonuses. First of all, like most of the new stuff that we're dropping will be more on the supporter tier side, so you're going to get more analytics, you're going to be able to create more menus, and most of the new features that come out will probably benefit supporter tier a little bit more. But that's not going to say that the normal free system is like limited anyway. It's still quite useful. For the pricing of this system, so we do charge a small percentage based on the amount of product that you sell through the marketplace, and that's just a software usage fee. It comes out to 5% of total receipts, or if you are a supporter, it's only 3.5% of total receipts, and that is if either the buyer or the seller in that transaction is a supporter. So if you aren't a supporter but you sell weed to someone who is, you still get the discount. So it's just a nice way to kind of help out the people who help out us. In the process, earlier in this call, we were talking about planning some road trips, going around Northern California, going down to LA. We are going to be in retailers near you, talking to them, trying to get them to consider purchasing from Higher Origins Farms. So this is not just web-based. We're getting out there in the streets. We're setting up some events. Actually, Matt, can you maybe talk about some of the events that you've seen are successful and some of the ones that we were thinking of getting involved in?
Yeah, I mean, the most successful events that I've seen thus far have been the farmers market events. So that is usually just a retailer setting up a little spot. You get, 5 small farms. They're usually stocked within the store already. They set up for the day. The retailer does a little bit of promotion around it. They generally do like a no tax sale, like usually the gimme that they do to consumers to kind of get people in and move some product. But yeah, those work really really well. And so I've been setting up kind of the more like how on higher origins can you use the we have like an event system that I haven't like done the UI for, but how can we use that to do better promotion to these events? Have the existing people who have signed up for like email updates on higher origins, how do you get them involved and get them to going to these events, and just better promotion in general, because that gets you in front of customers. That allows you to interact with them, allows that you to tell them your story. It's generally all around a good experience. So I think the more that we can kind of promote that direction, I think is really, really good, because then we just bring more consumer awareness to small farms, and that's good, because whether if they buy us or, our neighbor's product, I think we both win as long as that dollar's coming into the small farm category. So yeah, that's generally the idea.
That's the focus. Take those dollars that are being exported out of the North State, out of the small farming communities, and bring them back as much as possible. Because the current economic system that the state has set up is basically extractive capitalism focused against small farms. So we're trying to build Higher Origins to fix that however we can. So we're always open to collaborations, suggestions, something you think we should do, something you think we should not do. Hit us up, hello@higherorigins.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts, feedback, requests, suggestions, and we'd love to talk to you. So follow our social media. We will be out and about. We will be at events this year, so maybe we can even talk in person. So that's Higher Origins. That's what we're all about. Check it out. Sign up today. We'd love to have you. Any closing thing you'd like to say, Matt?
I think you covered pretty much everything, other than we finally got our label printer all done up, so expect Higher Origins brand soon.
Ah, yeah, that's another thing we're doing. For those people who find self-branding and doing all of that extra work themselves to be just too much, or they don't have the time or the effort, or it's just not an option for them at this moment, we're developing our own brand where we will basically help them self-brand, and their name will still be on the product. It'll be Higher Origins brand, but the farm will be front and center. So they'll still be able to retain that identity and story, but we'll help with some more of the logistics. And that's something that we're building out right now. If you'd like to get involved with that, hit us up. We'd love to get your product into the brand and get it out on shelves as quickly as possible. So, on that note, thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the platform. See ya.
Peace.